Hi everyone, welcome to FOREX Trading Empire YouTube channel weekly outlook. This is July 14, 2024 outlook. Before we start, make sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn on the notification bell to get alerted when I drop a new one. So on last week weekly outlook, I talked about price running down to this sell side liquidity and running down to this sell side liquidity. Which if you haven't watched last week outlook, make sure to go to the YouTube channel, go to the playlist outlook and go through last week weekly outlook. So what were underlying price, expecting price to run into some sort of premium fair value gap to trade down to the sell side liquidity. So that I was expecting price to run through the sell side liquidity and even trade lower. Because the catalyst of last week was that seeing price running through this sell side liquidity, running through this sell side liquidity, we'll be looking for where they'll be disposing of those orders, where the smart money will be disposing of those orders which they have been taking a sell from this high here, trading price through the sell side liquidity. We're expecting them to trade to some sort of liquidity pool or imbalance, which the next PDRA, the next draw on liquidity is the sell side liquidity, which you can see how last week retraced to this fair value gap. You can see how price traded to the sell side liquidity. So if you haven't watched last week weekly outlook, make sure to go to the FOREX Trading Empire YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to get alerted, so that when I drop outlook like this, you get alerted and go through the weekly outlook so that you can take advantage of price movement like this. So last week I pointed out that I was expecting a sell for price to run through the sell side liquidity. I'll still be sticking to the bias of the sell, where I'm expecting price to run through all this sell side liquidity. Price already ran through the sell side liquidity. I'm expecting Monday and Tuesday to run through the remaining sell side liquidity. Price might retrace to this fair value gap with the probability of price retracing to this fair value gap. But the catalyst of next week, I'm expecting price to run through this sell side liquidity. I'm not expecting a sweep of the liquidity. I'm expecting a run through, expecting a candle close below this sell side liquidity. So going into this week, expecting a run through this sell side liquidity. So this is the dollar index. So if we're expecting a sell on the dollar index, then all the dollar based currencies like Euro USD, GBP USD, Australian USD will be expecting higher price. So let's go down to the 1 hour time frame. Let me point out on how we took advantage of this trend down, which if you have watched last week weekly outlook, you should have been expecting the same shift of structure inside this fair value gap. We're expecting a shift of structure inside this fair value gap. Prior Tuesday to Wednesday gave us the clear shift of structure, so we took advantage, took the sell down. So let's go to the 1 hour time frame. So before we go into the 1 hour time frame, this is the 4 hour time frame of dollar index. You can see the retracement. You can see how price retraced into the fair value gap. So if I am to on time indicator, Monday price did a retracement higher. Tuesday price set for the reversal, running this inner buy side liquidity, filling the fair value gap. If you watch closely, you see that price did not close above the fair value gap. Price did not close above the fair value gap on Tuesday. On Tuesday's day close, price did not close inside the fair value gap, setting aside for a classic power tree where from the opening price, here's the opening price of the weekly. Let's outline the opening price of the weekly chart. So the opening price of the weekly candle, here's the opening price. For a classic power of tree, you can see the accumulation, then the manipulation into a premium PDRA because we're expecting a lower price. So you can see the manipulation into a premium PDRA, running buy side liquidity, filling in the imbalance, which is this fair value gap. You can see after price filled the fair value gap, you can see how price traded away using Wednesday, Thursday, CPI. So we had CPI last week on Thursday. You can see how CPI did the whole move. So it was after CPI we closed the trade. You can see the retracement on Friday before the last push down. So let's go to the 1 hour time frame, zooming down. So when price was inside the imbalance. So on the 1 hour time frame, if you look closely, here is Tuesday's price action of last week. The Tuesday's price action of last week, you can see how the New York section produced the volatility to run through this buy side liquidity. And you can see how price retraced down before the candle close into the fair value gap. So the first entry, which would have been one of the first entry to look for, was for price to trade into this order block. Was for price to expect this order block trading down to this sell side liquidity. But we did not take this trade. We were waiting for more confirmation. Then as soon as price respected the order block, retraced down. So this was this candle that traded into this order block before the retracement was the candle we used for our entry. So we waited for price to trade into the order block. You can see the line representing the order block. You can see price traded into the order block. Our first target was for price to run through this sell side liquidity, going below the opening price of Monday, because this is Monday's opening price. So if you have gone through last week weekly outlook, you have known that we were expecting lower prices, but during the time of the execution, the details on how we executed the market was explained in the FOREX Trading Empire community, FOREX Trading Empire Telegram community, which if you're interested, the link is being linked in the description below. You join the Telegram channel, then you chat up the admin for him to put you through on how to join the FOREX Trading Empire community. So the link is being linked in the description below. So let's move to Euro USD. So on Euro USD, this is the daily time frame of Euro USD. So this was Monday's candle. This was Monday's candle. So we were expecting higher price because remember, if we're expecting lower price on the dollar index, which means we'll be expecting higher price on dollar-based currencies like Euro USD, GBP USD, and Australian USD. So if we're expecting higher price, we're looking for price to run through this buy side liquidity. So I pointed out this buy side liquidity on last week weekly outlook, telling you guys that we're expecting Monday and Tuesday to run through the buy side liquidity. Monday and Tuesday did not run through the buy side liquidity, but got close to the buy side liquidity. Price traded through the buy side liquidity on Thursday. So on Thursday, price ran through the buy side liquidity. Friday, price kept trading to the upside, leading to this buy side liquidity. So if we're expecting lower price on the dollar index, we'll be expecting higher price on the Euro USD. So going into this week, I'm expecting price to run through this buy side liquidity run through this buy side liquidity and might even trade higher to this buy side liquidity. But my main target or the main catalyst of this week is to see price to run through this buy side liquidity. Then price might consolidate or price might do a reversal. But you don't need to know all the price movement to take advantage of price or to become profitable in the market. So expecting price to run through the buy side liquidity, running through that buy side liquidity, which is going to be an external range liquidity. So prior running to the buy side liquidity, you might see a retracement to this fair value gap, which is might, which I've said it might, but it's not going to be the whole catalyst of this week price movement. All I'm expecting price to run through this buy side liquidity. So we'll be going into much details on how we executed on last week price movement, how we took advantage. We'll be going into much details because we've already spent more time, because I like to keep the weekly outlook, not wasting you guys' time. Try to keep it a little bit 15 minutes or lesser. So let's go to GBP USD. So this is GBP USD daily time frame. So on GBP USD, if you go through last week weekly outlook, which I'm sure you guys make sure to go through last week weekly outlook to understand what I'm trying to explain, what I'm trying to outline in this weekly outlook. So on last week weekly outlook, I pointed out that I'm expecting higher price, staying with the premise of the dollar index, which without stressing it more, I've explained that if I'm expecting higher prices or I'm expecting lower prices on the dollar index, I'm expecting higher prices on dollar-based currencies. So last week we were expecting lower prices on the dollar index, so I was expecting higher prices on dollar-based currencies like GBP USD. So GBP USD, we're expecting higher prices, expecting price to run through this buy side liquidity, which you can see how price run through the buy side liquidity. This was Tuesday's price movement, Wednesday price movement, Thursday price movement. So Thursday price movement was on CPI, a CPI day. So if you're doing your backtest, make sure to mark out days of high impact news to look on how price delivered during those days. So on Thursday, price ran through the buy side liquidity. After driving higher, you can see how Friday price closing for the week. So going into this week, I'm still expecting higher prices. So price ran through an external range liquidity. Price might retrace to an internal range liquidity before driving higher. But I'm still keeping my catalyst expecting higher prices. So I wouldn't go down into more details on how we took advantage. I'll just be zooming down into the 1 hour time frame on where we took our entry. So zooming down into the 15-minute time frame, you can see how price on Tuesday closing price, you can see how price will run through Monday's low. Running into Monday's low from Tuesday going into Wednesday, that was when we're looking to take a buy. So during this time, we're sleeping. So coming into the London section, the opening of the London section, we're expecting a drive down, then a clear optimal trade entry. So we took advantage, targeting the daily buy side liquidity. So this was how we held the trade, took in partials as soon as price ran through this high. We took some out, then we took some out here before holding it for price to run through the buy side liquidity. So without diving more into how we took advantage of this trade, so that is all for this weekly outlook. Make sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn on the notification bell to get alerted when I drop a new one. See you guys in the next week.